Hello there. My name's Joanne Kaminski, and I'm also known as a Skype and reading tutor. And what I get the lovely opportunity to be able to do is help other teachers that are getting started with their very own business when it comes to tutoring. And I help out teachers that are tutoring online and people who want to even like move their regular tutoring business into the regular realm of the world as well. And I'm really excited about this topic today because when I started my online tutoring business, I had a lot of fears. I had a lot of doubts. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my own experience with that and some of the lessons along the way that I've learned. So, actually, I mean, you can just start off with a fun story about uh, last 2 weeks ago when I went skiing. So I decided to take my family on this awesome ski getaway, right? And I had pretty much only put on skis 4 times in my life. So that was once when I was 5 years old, and we did it in gym class. And I remember the gym teacher had us put on the skis and then go down this like really tiny little hill in our playground field. And guess what? I fell flat on my face. And about 2 years ago, my sister-in-law kept encouraging me to, give it another try and get my kids and my family in it. And I thought, okay, why not? So as a 36-year-old at the time, I decided to go to ski school, try the bunny hills, and I'm never going to ever in a million years forget my first bunny hill experience. So my 6-year-old niece, she's going up. They have like these escalator things. I didn't even know this, like that they had this, but they had these escalator things to go on up to the bunny hill. And so my niece is going up on the bunny hill on the escalator thing, and I'm going down the bunny hill for the very first time. And guess what? Halfway through, I fall flat down on my face. And so as I glance over at the escalator, there's my niece laughing her head off that her 36-year-old aunt can't do it. Now she's 6, so she thinks it's hilarious that she can ski pretty easily and her aunt can't, ski at all. So it's pretty embarrassing. It sure didn't feel good for my ego. And during that same trip, the group that I was with, they convinced me that I could go down like this really easy hill. So I would get to go up onto the ski lift and go down this really easy hill. But there was just one problem. I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know how to slow down. In fact, I didn't even know this was something that I needed to learn. I didn't even know how to get off a ski lift. See, I had been on ski lifts in the summer before where, they stopped, you got off, but on a ski hill, you're actually expected to get off all by yourself and stay on your feet. And that's quite the task. So I got off, but once again, I landed flat on my face. And this time, my brother-in-law was with me and he had the opportunity to laugh at me, but he didn't. He was really kind and he was really caring, and he continued to give me advice so that the next time I could get off without falling flat on my face. And about, halfway down this hill that I go down, I fell down again. But this time it was so bad that I had to take off my skis and I just walked the rest of the way down. There was no way I was going to put skis on my feet and try to do this when I knew I couldn't stop. And I mean, at this point, I was actually pretty angry. I was livid. I was angry that I was following other people. I was allowing other people to convince me to try something that I knew that I wasn't ready for. And so pretty much what I did is I took my stuff off. I returned to the car and I waited until everyone else had finished, and I sat there in my anger. I held on to that anger and I didn't attempt skiing again for another year. So the next year wasn't much better for me. And in fact, I still don't even know like how to stop or get off that stupid ski chair. In fact, it was all like a really big blur to me, right? So 2 weekends ago, I actually gave the skiing thing another shot. My husband decided he wanted to actually invest in this hobby, and he actually bought some used ski equipment from some swaps. And so I said, okay, so he's got the equipment, I'm going to plan this first ski getaway. And I found a place in the Wisconsin Dells where if you stayed at the hotel, then you got free access to tubing skiing for the whole weekend. And I thought, okay, this is probably a good start. Nice a little hill that we can focus on. So to get ready for the big event, I decided to put on some skis and try just to going down in my own backyard here. And my skis apparently weren't fitted yet, and I didn't know this, so I couldn't even get them on. So here I am, frustration. It's just like, I can't even get these skis on. So I grabbed my daughter's skis, and I actually fit into her skis perfectly. And guess what? I go down that hill, bam, I fall flat on my face again. You think I just give up at this point, right? I mean, by this point, I have fallen flat so many times. Like, what is the point? Why bother? But here's the thing. I live in Wisconsin and it's like winter 6 months out of the year. So if I don't take this up, I could be staying indoors, for really long lengths of time. And I really do love the fresh air and my kids are really enjoying it. And I love that this is something that we can do as a family. So a new problem has now developed as a result of me putting skis on, putting on actually the boots part of the ski. My calves became so sore in my boots that it felt like they were actually going to explode from this like burning sensation in them. So I went back inside. I took them off for half an hour and I put them on really, really loose. And they didn't feel so bad this time. So I put my daughter's skis on again and bam, fell flat on my face. At this point, we're like 2 weekends away from our ski weekend, and I still have not a clue how to go down a hill without falling. So now I could use this as an excuse, right, to quit. I mean, I've really tried. I've really given it a really good try, and I'm just not getting it. But you know what? Honestly, I was just too determined to try to make this work. So now the big weekend arrives, and I'm completely like unprepared to even go down a bunny hill. So the first thing I did is I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look for a ski instructor. And I was hoping that I'd be able to take another little class, ask some questions about how to stop, slow down, get off a ski lift. There was no such luck. So it's 10:30 and they only offer the classes on the hour. So I could wait a half an hour or I could just try this thing called skiing with my husband's guidance. So I decided actually to listen to him, trust him, and his words of wisdom. And this time there wasn't an escalator to bring me up the bunny hill. I had to actually hold on to this rope to go on up, to pull me up. So I put my feet into position. I grabbed the rope. I held on tight as if my life depended on it. And by the time I got to the top, my calves were burning again. So here, I'm not even feeling very hopeful about this trip at this point in time. I'm like, oh my gosh. I began to have thoughts like, okay, why did I book this trip? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? So I made it to the end of the hill, and guess what? I was able to stop. Oh, so progress is actually ensuing here. It's a lovely thing, and it actually made me a little hopeful that I had to take those skis off because my calves were burning so bad. And seriously, like when you have pain like that, you seriously just have to like press a reset button. And for me, it was to take those shoes off. I needed to stretch the calves and I just needed to try again. So I did. In fact, I had to do it 2 more times. So then my whole family decided they were ready for this bigger hill. And I'm like, great. I still haven't really mastered this bunny hill thing and my feet are hurting, but all right, I'll give it another try. I'll go up a bigger hill. And I knew I still don't know how to get off of the ski lift. I know that this is a really big problem for me. So I was actually wishing that I could just stay on the ski lift and enjoy the scenery for the day. But here's the thing. They actually have like this bar that would whip you really hard if you tried to attempt that. So I attempted to get off the lift and guess what? Bam! Fell straight on my face again. My knees are actually bent in this really awful position. So I took my skis off. I stood up. I brushed the snow off my body. I put the skis back on and I headed to the easiest slope I could find. Oh, and believe me, fear was at its peak at this point in time. This first easy slope that we could see was called Jim's Jump. Well, kind of ironic. My husband's name is Jim, but what was going through my mind was a beginner has absolutely no place going on a slope called Jim's Jump. I don't want to be jumping anything. And this hill was super steep, but it had a really long ending. Of course, I couldn't see that or anything, but I looked at my husband and I told him my fears. I mean, I kept saying things like I can't do this. I'm too scared. And he kept looking at me and kept saying, you know what, you can do this over and over again. He kept giving me that hope, that wisdom that I needed in order to like move down. And the funny thing is, there was this woman, she was on my right and she was waiting for me to go, but I wasn't ready. So I told her, go ahead, because I'm a beginner. She looked back at me and she said, oh, I am too. And then she just eased on down the hill like she was an expert. And she had more confidence than I had. But at watching her, I was more willing to just do it. And so I looked at that hill and I started to move forward in the direction and I allowed gravity to begin taking me down. And I was going so flippin' fast. My heart was racing a mile a minute. I was thinking like, well, will I be able to stop? I was thinking, okay, piece of slice, make an S. Try one of these strategies and you will get success. And guess what? I tried zigzagging in an S formation, and bada bing, bada boom, I was able to slow down and stop. I did not fall down my face, and I made it down the hill. And that, that fear that was debilitating for me actually had turned into something else. It turned into excitement. I couldn't believe that I did it. I now needed to prove to myself that this was not just a fluke and that I could do it again. So I got back up on the ski lift and then remembered I still don't know how to get off. My husband rode with me. He told me, scoot your butt to the edge, bend your knees, push yourself off. So I did. I fell flat on my butt again. And my knees were really in an awkward position. So I knew that I still needed to master this. And something inside of me was going, like saying, okay, you're going to figure this out. So this time I went right on over to Jim's jump, went down the hill with success, and went right back onto that ski lift. And after talking to my husband, I realized I was kind of missing one critical step. I wasn't standing up when I was trying to get off of the lift. I kept my knees bent, but I never straightened them out. So after we realized that, I tried standing up and bada bing, bada boom, I got it. I stayed on my feet. And I was happy. But, fear was still there to a point. I still had a fear of falling down. I had a fear of, like, all of a sudden now, like, new fear started to develop. Like, what if I am going so fast and I just, like, fall off the edge of the mountain? But my confidence was getting to the point where it was really starting to grow. And my family wanted to try the other side of the hill on a different lift. So I went on over there with them, and they began looking for the easiest hill. And this one was called Hee Haw. I liked the sound of that one. A donkey is slow. A donkey says hee haw. Perfect. Let's do it. So the only problem was that there were a ton of people on this hill. And it was kind of a little steeper at the beginning to kind of get to hee haw. So as I was going down, I was still having some problems with slowing down and stopping. And this time I did. I fell right off the edge of the mountain. I landed on my back and started sliding down on like bumpy, scratchy ice. My jacket moved all the way up my back and dug in and left marks. I still have the marks today. So fear again is beginning to settle in because of what just happened. But the only way down the mountain is ski down it. So I repositioned my skis and I went down. And guess what? To my surprise, this hill was easier than Jim's jump. And I had to turn, I kind of had to turn to the left as I skied, but it was really, really easy. So in fact, I enjoyed it so much that I spent the next 3 hours like going down that hill. I continued to grow my confidence and enjoy myself. And in fact, I turned this debilitating fear into exhilaration. I could now get off the lift. I could slow down. I could stop. And I could actually take the time to enjoy myself and enjoy the awesome memories that we were making with my family. And at the end of the day, my daughter, who's 12 years old, she looked at me and she said, "Mom, thank you so much for learning how to ski. This has been so much fun." And it just reminded me of all those times when I fell and how it felt when I was falling and how embarrassing it was and my ego and everything. But at the end of the day, she is my reason for doing everything that I do. And that includes building my business. And in the beginning, I had lots of fears when it came to my business. And so I'm gonna share some of those lessons that I've learned along the way and what that can mean for our business. So, falling, first of all, doesn't mean failing, right? You need to take lessons from each of the falls that you have and figure out what made you fall and try something else. Nobody starts off their business perfectly. That's why so many of them close their doors within the first year. However, if you can analyze what your weak areas are, get educated so that you can perform better, then you have a much higher likelihood of being successful. And I think that's what makes us teachers so special, because we already value education and we're willing to go to any length to learn what it is that we need to learn so that we can be successful. A second lesson that I learned is that a physical pain can set in when you don't know what you're doing. In skiing, for me, it was that pain in my calves. and it was seriously enough to make me want to quit. But I would take off the boots, I would take a break, I would try putting them on a different way, see if that made a difference. And in the business world, it can turn into actual like headaches or anxiety. And if you suffer from anxiety, I highly suggest that you talk to your doctor, because this is a real medical condition that needs to be addressed. However, if your anxiety can be healed through someone just showing you what to do and what to put into place for your business, then take the time to learn from them. Getting a mentor is essential when you're starting something new. That's why when we're still in school to become a teacher, we do a practicum work and we do student teaching. It's also that we can learn all of the ins and outs that may be much more successful the first year that we're on our own. And in fact, if you stay to the end of this hangout, I'm going to talk about two different offers that you can take me up on. And one is a free gift that's at a value of $97 that many tutors have gotten a ton of value from. So don't let physical pains like headaches when you can't figure something out deter you from your vision and your goal. Your students are waiting for you and they need what you have to provide. So as they say in the exercise world, no pain, no gain, right? When you go through these pain spots, they're really growing spots and they're stretching you beyond anything that you thought was possible. So if you can endure, then you can succeed. So don't give up. Don't allow those pains and your fears to be debilitating to you. I think another thing people worry about too is age. When I started skiing, I was 36 years old, which to some people is just too old. But I want you to know that regardless, if you're 18 or 70, when it comes to running your own online tutoring business, you can do this. Age has nothing to do with it. Anything is possible when you put your mind to it. All too often, I hear young people say things like, "But I'm still in college. Who would want to hire me?" Well, honestly, with that attitude, no one, right? I hate to be grim here, but if you don't believe in yourself, then why should anybody else? Your mindset has everything to do with whether you will succeed at this. And if you think you can't, you know what, honestly, then you won't. But if you think you can, then you will. It kind of reminds me of that very first book that I ever read, The Little Engine That Could. I can picture that little engine going up the mountain saying, "I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can." And what a valuable lesson, right? I mean, seriously, if you think you can, then anything is possible. Did you know that your thoughts will actually determine your success? And people who have negative thoughts in their head most of the time are unhappy in life. They're stuck in jobs they don't like, and they complain about anything that other people will listen to. And those people, honestly, they're really draining. Nobody ever says, "Oh, I really hope I can hang out with negative Nancy all day. Woo! So much fun listening to her complain." But here's the good news. The good news is that those who are able to break the 50% mark with positive comments are happier, they achieve more, and are socially way more fun to hang around with. They see more success in their life, and they're not afraid to take those chances that they need to take. The fourth lesson is that I learned, there are many opportunities that you have to quit. I had many opportunities to quit when it came to learning how to ski. I could make excuses that would seem extremely valid to many people, right? I can't do it because I'm too old. Some people would be like, "Yep, that's right. I can't do it because I had physical pain," right? I had actual physical pain in my calves, which would have stopped many people in their tracks from even continuing. Or I can't do it because I keep falling. I can't stay on my feet. But here's the thing, persistence refused to let those excuses take residence in my head. Sure, I was frustrated. In fact, there were many days where I was frustrated with my business as well. Did you know that I tried 5 other businesses before I tried tutoring online? Yep. I tried selling things on eBay, making and selling crafts on Etsy, network marketing with Polaris Media Group, selling educational vacations, selling Usborne books. And after trying one, I could have just quit and just become a stay-at-home mom struggling to make ends meet. But I was determined to be a work-at-home mom so that I could be more present for my children and bring in an income that would sustain us comfortably. Well, what is your why? Why do you want to start your own online tutoring business? Is it because you want more freedom and flexibility? Do you want to be able to travel, spend more time with your family, get paid what you're worth? Whatever your why is, I'd like you right now to write it down and place it on a post-it note. Put that post-it note where you're going to see it. So when you do your actions, that's what you look at. This is your why. This is the why that will keep you motivated when those excuses start to seep into your life. And people who don't have a why are that much more willing to give up when the going gets rough. And there are going to be times when the going's going to get rough. I'm not going to spout off to you that any of this is going to be easy and that tutoring online is easy money or any of those false pretenses. There are many skills that most of us need to learn. And whenever we learn something new, it takes consistency, it takes patience, perseverance, and hard work. So don't believe anyone who promises you that you're going to be making six figures in your first year. And people who are able to do that have many more skills under their belt than most of us here. So I want you to think about, when fear settles in, you want to make sure that you have a support team. And I think that's tip number 5 here, because you want to surround yourself with people who believe in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. Many of the tutors that I coach and work with tell me that I'm really good for their ego because I'm always pumping them up with praise and encouragement. My husband was my support team for attempting the ski hill and even with my business. When money was an issue, he would try to say positive things and give me words of encouragement. And on the ski hill, he kept telling me he knew I could do this. Even though in my own mind, I didn't know if I believed that I could. So this is where a strong mentor can be the best thing that you ever invest in. They can see past the point where you are, and they can actually help you reach whatever your goal is. So my 6th tip is make like Nike and just do it. When fear tries to stop you in your tracks, like when I was at Jim's Jump, the longer you think, the harder it is to move forward. So don't allow your brain to go there with your business. Take the actions that you need to take, learn from your mistake, and always keep going in forward motion. Even if you zigzag, you're going to make it to your end destination. Before you get your first clients, I know there are all kinds of fears, right? Like, what kinds of resources will I use? Will I be able to really help kids online? Will I be able to get clients? How long will it take before this is really a viable business? And honestly, these are all normal. This is very similar to how I felt the first time I was at the top of Jim's Jump, right? Like all the things that could go wrong in my mind were already going through my head. I could fall, I could hurt myself, I could break a leg. But as soon as I started to experience success, my confidence began to grow. And that's very similar to when you first start getting your clients. Your confidence begins to grow and it keeps growing. And it's a really necessary thing to happen as you're beginning your online tutoring business. Well, after I got my very first client who actually lived in this area, my first paid client. My very first paid client who lived in the area was willing to do it online. She was just like, she thought that what I was doing was the bee's knees. She just thought this was amazing. She wanted to tell everybody all about it. And because of her in that first year, I ended up getting 5 new clients. So it was pretty awesome what she was doing for me and supporting me. And it really gave me that confidence to keep going and grow. So know that even your biggest cheerleaders are going to be the clients that you have. They're not always looking for people that are the most experienced or that. Sometimes they're just looking for somebody who can help their child. So don't think that your experience is going to have, a big check mark kind of against your name, like she can't do it. And I have to tell you, it's exhilarating to create your very own business and have success. In fact, it's a high that many people don't get to experience. And I know that you've figured out how to run a business, get success with your students, and never have to resort to another job again. And it's amazing. There is no fear of people firing you, dealing with politics, and having to deal with other people's egos. So you get to put the needs of your students first and give them exactly what they need. It is awesome. So today, I can travel when I want, where I want, and as often as I want. And I don't have to worry about vacation time or money. I can put in as many hours or as little hours as I want. I can be present for my kids. I can volunteer in their classrooms, speak at conventions. And this past week, I just spent the first part of this week in Austin, Texas. I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning speaking at the TEAC conference. I can spend money on the things that I want to without asking someone or trying to figure out a way. And I'm in complete control of my life and my destiny. And this is the kind of freedom that motivates me to help as many online teachers and tutors as possible. I want to pass this exhilaration on and not just keep it for myself. I believe that teachers should get paid what they're worth and that they should be respected more. But if you're one of those people, you have some more things that you would like to learn. I would love for you to check out my book. It's called Job Security for Life and Teaching: How to Become an Online Tutor. And I share my 4-step process inside of this book of the some of the tips and tricks that can help you get started in your business. In fact, this past week was really awesome. I had a woman who saved this book on Pinterest and said it was one of the best reads that she's had. And that was really exciting to see that there are people out there that are really getting a lot of value out of it. So definitely check this out: Job Security for Life and Teaching: How to Become an Online Tutor on Amazon. And also, if you haven't had an opportunity to schedule a free strategy session, I usually charge $97 for a half an hour, and I'm doing an entire hour session with people. So definitely sign on up and join me for a free strategy session. If you've already had one and have already found a lot of value, I invite you to come back, and I will give you a reduced price rate of $97 for the hour instead of just the half hour. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you some more. Have a great one. Bye.